Fuck.
Are you alright?
What's wrong?
Alright.
You just said to
¡Liz! ¡Muérete de aquí! ¡Muérete! ¡Muérete!
I think it's in reasonable condition considering its age. So I'm going to set up the recording equipment and leave it for approximately 8 hours.
Office Spirit. The first video, uploaded on October 3rd, 2011 to the Adrian Anowin HD YouTube channel, features eerie CCTV footage capturing an unexplained phenomenon at his workplace. Recorded late at night, long after everyone had gone home, the footage shows a shadowy figure emerging from the darkness, moving eerily through the empty halls. Its presence is unsettling, not just because of its ghostly form, but because of how it moves. Slow, deliberate. As if fully aware it's being watched. Then at one chilling moment it turns its head directly toward the camera. Adrian later uncovered the disturbing history behind this incident. The building was constructed on the grounds of a long-forgotten Victorian orphanage, a place where many children had reportedly suffered and died. However, this revelation did little to settle the growing unease among viewers. Many remained skeptical, not because they doubted the presence of something unnatural, but because of how disturbingly human the figure appeared. Was this truly a ghost? Or was something far worse lurking in the shadows? You tell me. Ghostly coin. This next chilling video, uploaded to the YouTube channel Scariest Paranormal in November 2017, captured a terrifying supernatural event unfolding inside a woman's home. While many might dismiss her claims as mere imagination or coincidence, she didn't just tell her story, she demonstrated it. And what happened next was nothing short of disturbing. At first, it seemed harmless. She casually dropped a few coins into a glass jar, an act so ordinary that no one would think twice about it.
Right guys, this coin, amazing. People aren't believing what's happening in this house.
But then, the coins began to move, flipping and spinning inside the jar, as if controlled by an unseen force. There were no strings, no magnets, and no logical explanation. The woman watched in frozen terror as the jar trembled slightly, the metallic clinks echoing through the quiet room.
Are you angry because you're dead? What are you angry about?
Was it a spirit trying to make contact? Or something far worse, something beyond human comprehension? Skeptics might search for explanations, but those who witnessed the unsettling footage couldn't shake the feeling that something truly otherworldly had made itself known through the jar. Unworldly things happening in house didn't end there. This next video buttresses it. White Ghost. This video was uploaded in September 2009 to the Light86 YouTube channel, where the owner shared a terrifying personal experience. It was supposed to be just another night. Friends gathered in an old house, laughing, chatting, unaware that something sinister was lurking in the shadows. Then, without warning, one of the girls froze. Her face went pale, her body trembling as she clutched onto someone beside her. Fear had paralyzed her, her eyes wide with silent horror. Confused, the others turned to her, asking what was wrong.
Blew through the building and the door slammed shut.
Jesus Christ!
What?
Oh my God!
What, Emily?
Fuck!
Are you alright?
What's wrong?
Are you alright?
You just said
Did you not see that?
no. He just moved.
I heard him say something.
Yeah.
And then she spoke of seeing a ghost.
Are you alright?
No, there was a girl in a blue dress walking towards us from that room.
Which room?
The room fell silent. Some scoffed, dismissing it as paranoia, while others exchanged uneasy glances. The night continued, but an unsettling feeling lingered in the air. It wasn't until later, when the YouTuber reviewed the footage, that the true nightmare began. At first, everything seemed normal, but as he replayed the clip, his breath hitched. There, in the far end of the frame, was something that shouldn't have been there. A shadowy figure, barely visible, standing motionless, watching them. It hadn't moved, it hadn't made a sound, and yet, it was there the entire time. His friend wasn't hallucinating, she wasn't overreacting. The ghost was real. It had been with them all along. And the worst part? They never saw it leave. Don't let that scare you much, because the coming clip is far more scary. Ouija session. This video surfaced on YouTube in December 2022, uploaded by popular paranormal investigator Ricky Velasquez. It chronicled a chilling night when he and his wife, Eliza, ventured into an abandoned building under the cover of darkness, an investigation that would leave them questioning whether they had truly left the place behind.
Hola. Hay que buscar el diapasón, es lo que dicen. ¿Crees que...?
¿Pero lo dejaste aquí a propósito?
Yo lo dejé, yo me fui. O sea, disculpen por no regresarme por el diapasón, yo me tuve que ir.
The air was thick with dust and decay as Ricky stepped inside, his breath shallow. The floor creaked beneath him, the sound swallowed by the suffocating silence. He had been here before, but this time was different. This time Eliza was with him. Together, they moved through the desolate rooms, scanning the remnants of a forgotten past, broken furniture, peeling wallpaper, the scent of mildew clinging to the air. Then came the first test. Ricky rapped his knuckles against a door as if he'd wait for an answer.
Interrumpo.
Shortly after, he got their first scare, but that's not enough to chase them back. They left the building and approached another one, this time resembling an old residential home. Inside, the decay was worse. Clothes, long abandoned, sat in heaps, disintegrating into the floorboards. But it was the Ouija board that caught their attention, a weathered relic of past seances, waiting. The planchette was cold beneath Eliza's fingers as she volunteered to start the session. Ricky stood back, camera rolling, his pulse quickening with each breath. The moment the planchette moved, an icy dread crawled up his spine. Eliza spoke, and almost instantly a low, guttural moan seeped through the walls. It wasn't the wind, it wasn't the building settling, it was something else.
¿Tú crees que es buena idea? ¿Crees que es buena idea? ¿Tú cómo te sientes? La verdad, ¿tú cómo te sientes? Dime si te sientes...
O sea, tengo nervios, así como miedo, pero
sí.
Quiero tener más.
O sea, ¿quieres darte cuenta? ¿O pregúntale algo?
¿Qué quieres que le pregunte?
Pues lo que vimos, que cuántos son...
Ok.
A shadow shifted in the corner of his eye. Ricky turned his camera toward it, his instincts screaming. Beyond the hanging remnants of old clothes, something loomed. And when he finally saw it, really saw it, his reaction was immediate. A guttural scream tore from his throat as he bolted for the exit, dragging Eliza with him.
¿Cuántas hay aquí?
Espérate. Dice saludos de la familia Hernández y de Dolores de Guanajuato.
But they didn't stop. They did flee, but not to safety. Instead, they made a reckless choice, to take the board back to the first building to see if the presence lingered there too.
¿Atrás mío? ¿Atrás mío? Atrás mío no hay nada y eso es lo que ya estoy...
What they found was worse. A doll sat in the dust, one that hadn't been there before. Ricky swore it. Its head was tilted unnaturally, its lifeless eyes meeting his with an eerie familiarity. This time they ran, out of the building into the night, clutching the Ouija board as if it might somehow explain what had just happened.
No, ven papá, ven papá, ven papá, ven papá, ven papá. Abre una de nosotros.
They threw it into the trunk and sped away, but the feeling didn't leave them. Ricky gripped the wheel, his mind racing. But should they have taken the Ouija board with them? It's like carrying the pathway into Ghost World home. But what do you think? Demon Cat. On August 11th, 2023, a chilling video surfaced online, posted by Lauren Constantino, a woman with no history of content creation, no desire for internet fame. It was her first and only upload, as a result of desperate attempt to find answers for the disturbing phenomenon unfolding in her own bedroom. The footage begins with a dimly lit room, the camera trembling slightly as Lauren whispers her unease. She claims something has been lurking in her space, watching from the darkness. At first she dismissed it as paranoia, but then the noises began, scratches against the walls, guttural growls from the shadows, the sensation of unseen eyes locked onto her even when she was alone. Then she caught it on camera. A figure, small, sleek, and shifting unnaturally in the dim glow of her bedside lamp. At first glance, it resembled a cat, but there was something wrong about it. Its eyes, wide and reflective, pulsed with an unnatural gleam, and its movements were eerily disjointed, as if its limbs didn't quite belong to it. She called it Demon Cat, a term she had come to use in a half-hearted attempt to rationalize its presence. Lauren survived the night. She assures viewers of this in her post, but the question remains, was this truly a demon cat, or was it something far worse, something that wore the guise of a familiar creature, waiting, watching, studying? Now the question is yours to answer. What do you see in the footage? A simple trick of the light, or a harbinger of something far more sinister? Let me have your opinion in the comment while we move to the next video. Paranormal Comet. In November 2023, YouTuber Non-Tactical Shooter uploaded a video unlike anything he had ever posted before. Known for firearm-related content, his channel took a sudden and unsettling turn when he shared footage of an inexplicable event that unfolded in his backyard in the dead of night. At precisely 4:10 a.m., his Ring floodlight camera activated, triggered by movement. The grainy footage reveals an empty yard, silent still, until something begins to stir. Faint, but deliberate footsteps crunch through the fallen leaves. A long, unnatural silence follows. And then, nothing. No retreat, no further sounds. Just gone. If you're thinking this was an infrared IR recording, it wasn't. The floodlight had switched on, disabling IR entirely. Yet what makes this more disturbing is that his other cameras, recording at the exact same time, captured nothing. No movement, no sound. Just an eerie void where there should have been evidence. There was, however, one anomaly, strange orbs flickering through the IR feed. Could they be nothing more than headlights from a passing car? Perhaps. But why then did his young daughter wake up at that exact moment, restless and unsettled, as if she had felt something watching? An intruder? A ghost? Or something that doesn't fall into either category? One thing is clear. Whatever it was, it had the intelligence to stop just before revealing itself. It wanted to be heard, but not seen. And if that's the case, then this may not be the last time it visits. For his sake, he'd better set up more cameras. And most importantly, he needs to lock every door. Because whatever this was, it may not stay outside next time. This next video further proves how these ghostly beings can hide. Abandoned Paranormal. The popular paranormal channel Near Shadows uploaded a chilling new video, documenting its host, Jeremy, and his wife, Tina, as they returned to an abandoned house they had explored once before. The first visit had been unsettling, but this time, something felt different. As they stepped inside, the house greeted them with an eerie silence until the noises began.
Okay. I thought that was a door. That's why I thought it was like a secret entrance. Okay. Oh my god, holy shit.
Jeremy knew better than to be caught off guard. He wasn't here for surprises. He made that clear to whatever unseen presence might be lurking, but the house didn't care. It never cared. Decay clung to every inch of the structure. The ceiling sagged, mold crawled up the walls, and shattered glass littered the floor. Dust swirled in the stale air, disturbed only by their hesitant footsteps. And then Jeremy's flashlight caught something on the wall, something far worse than the usual graffiti. Tina moved cautiously, her breath shallow, stepping over crumbling debris as the dim light from outside barely reached past the ruined windows. Behind her, Jeremy tightened his grip on the flashlight, exhaling sharply. Then without a word, he turned toward the basement door. The entrance loomed before him, an open mouth leading into darkness. The air shifted, thicker, colder. He stepped forward, each creak of the wooden stairs groaning under his weight.
Alright, I don't know about this.
Good luck, Jeremy.
Yeah, I wouldn't go one by one.
Hello? Is anybody down there? I don't know. This is really unstable.
Then, the basement swallowed him whole. The stench of mildew and rot clung to the damp concrete walls. Rusted pipes loomed like skeletal remains, their shadows stretching unnaturally in the dim light. It was quiet down here. Too quiet. He scanned the room, the silence pressing against his ears like static.
Oh, there's an old creepy TV.
I say we go down there.
It's actually more sturdy than you would think. Except for when you get to this last...
You sure?
Yeah.
I didn't grab my flashlight.
A faint shuffle. Jeremy didn't notice it then, not at the moment, but when reviewing the footage later, he saw it. Something shifting just out of frame. What finally sent them running wasn't the cold or the silence. It was the sudden, violent clatter of something being thrown across the room. The noise shattered the stillness, but there was no one there. No thrower, no source, just the weight of an unseen presence closing in. And yet, despite it all, Jeremy and his team vowed to return. Maybe it was because they weren't alone and it was during the day, unlike so many others who ventured into haunted places by themselves. Or maybe, just maybe, the house wanted them to come back. Will you if you're the one? This question will be better answered after watching this next clip. Fleeting Ghost. On August 2nd, 2010, a seemingly ordinary video surfaced on YouTube, uploaded by Patrick Jonsson. It wasn't meant to be anything special, just a simple test of his new video camera as he made his way down to his apartment basement to retrieve his bike. But what was meant to be a mundane recording turned into something far more disturbing. The basement was larger than most, a labyrinth of dimly lit corridors stretching into the darkness. His footsteps echoed as he moved forward, the fluorescent lights above flickering faintly, casting jittery shadows along the cold walls. Then, as he turned a corner, he discovered the fear of his life. Something was there. At the far end of the corridor, barely visible in the dim light, something moved. A glint of motion caught by the lens, a shape that shouldn't have been there, a reflection? That's what some skeptics would later claim. A trick of the light. But if it was just a reflection, why did it seem to watch him? Why did it shift? Slowly, deliberately, not in a way that made sense, not like a person stepping forward. For a few agonizing seconds, there was nothing but pitch black silence, his own ragged breath, the distant hum of unseen pipes, and maybe, just maybe, the sound of something else. Closer now. The emergency light flickered on. The corridor was empty. Patrick didn't wait to understand what had happened. He bolted, abandoning any thought of his bike. Was it a simple reflection, a trick of the eye? Or had he stumbled upon something lurking in the depths of that basement, something waiting, watching, and perhaps now aware of him? You tell me. The Anguished man. In February 2011, a chilling video was uploaded to the Anguished Man YouTube channel. The name alone should have been a warning. This was no ordinary paranormal case. The channel's owner had inherited a disturbing painting, a piece of art so unnerving that it had long been associated with strange occurrences. But he wasn't just dealing with an eerie image. There was something else lurking within the canvas. The painting, titled The Anguished Man, depicted a twisted, tormented face, its hollow eyes filled with an unspoken horror. Looking at it was enough to unsettle even the most skeptical viewer. But there was something deeper beneath the surface, something far beyond its unsettling appearance. The YouTuber had experienced too much strange activity since bringing the painting into his home. He couldn't ignore it any longer. Determined to document the disturbances, he moved the Anguished Man to the upstairs bedroom, the very place where the most unexplainable events had occurred. He set up a camera, letting it record for 8 hours each night over 3 consecutive nights. After hours of reviewing the footage, he discovered something terrifying. Soft, distant sounds echoed through the house. Many of them could have been dismissed as noises from outside, but these sounds were different. The whispers were too faint, too distorted, as if something just beyond human perception was trying to make itself heard. And then, the door. On the second night, without any visible force, without wind, without a draft, the bedroom door slammed shut on its own. The impact reverberated through the empty room, an undeniable sign that something unseen had moved it. But the most terrifying moment didn't come from the video, it happened in real time. Shortly after relocating the painting, the YouTuber was making his way down the stairs when a thick, unnatural fog seeped into the hallway. It came from nowhere, curling around him, swallowing the air in an oppressive stillness. Panic surged through his chest, an uncontrollable, primal fear, as if the fog itself was alive, feeding off his terror. And then, as quickly as it had come, it vanished. That was the final straw. He wasted no time. The painting was removed, dragged back down into the cellar, locked away in the dark where it belonged. But the question remains, why had someone placed it in their home to begin with? And worse, why was it painted at all? Whatever its origins, one thing was clear. The Anguished Man was more than just a painting. It's more like a pathway to something more sinister. And to the last one in this video, demonic shadow. This last video was uploaded by YouTuber Donnie Drunkard in 2019, detailing a deeply unsettling experience in his apartment, one that would leave him questioning the very nature of what lurked in his home. It started on an otherwise uneventful afternoon, around 2:30 p.m. Donnie was in his living room, casually watching television, but something felt off, a creeping sensation, like being watched, gnawed at the edges of his awareness. Then, in his peripheral vision, something moved. A shadow. Something black and shapeless shot across the doorway leading to another part of the house, moving unnaturally fast. Too fast for any person. Donnie's logical part of his brain tried to dismiss it, but deep down, he knew better. Determined to catch whatever he had seen, Donnie set up cameras throughout his home, placing them in every corner, every hallway, every room. And that's when he captured it, proof that he was not alone. The footage revealed a shadow figure, darker than the lit spaces around it, shifting in and out of sight. It didn't move like a person. At the end of the hall, beer bottles, sitting untouched, toppled over. Not a slow, accidental roll. They fell, forcefully as though something unseen had shoved them.
It's right there. Those are my... I hear you.
This was no ordinary haunting. Fear turned to resolve. Donnie needed answers. If this was what he thought it was, he had to find out for sure. He began playing Christian gospel music throughout his apartment, not for comfort, but as a provocation. If the entity was truly demonic, it would react. It would reveal itself. Realizing he could no longer handle this alone, Donnie took to social media, seeking advice, seeking help. The responses poured in, some offering prayers, others warning him to leave, to get out before things escalated. Because if he had truly attracted something dark, playing gospel music might not be enough to drive it away. It might just be making it angrier. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments.